Hi, and welcome to today's show. We're going to be talking about aura sprays and clearing essences. So, thank you to those that are joining or catching on the replay. I really appreciate your likes and shares and subscribes. And thank you, Tim, for the reminder. So let me bring up a few things before we get started into today, and we'll be talking about what kind of essences there are, what we can do at home to make our own. And I really want you to think about putting your own magic spin or your own magic touch onto it, because if you make your own, it definitely is much more potent. So let me just bring up this little window. You might hear Lyra around in the background. Okay, so this is the one that we're talking about today. We're going to be talking mainly about cleansing. So I release what no longer serves me is the affirmation associated with that version of Soul Alchemy Potions. So if I click on here, and I actually put some into a little magical glass jar, just so you guys can see a little close up. Hey, Lisa. Hi, Jake. So this is what the cleansing vibes looks like. And I'll just read to you the ingredients that I've popped in the back, and you'll see it here. So we have lemongrass, calendula, cornflower, and spearmint. And yeah, I just thought it's good to look at the raw ingredient. You can see those beautiful little purpley blue cornflower. Hey, Amy Rose, thank you for joining us all the way from the UK. So I do have some interesting information to share to do with what we're talking about with the essences, and a different point of view compared to, I guess, the mainstream side, or even maybe perhaps like some of the normal traditional occult side of essences. Hey, Ken. So let me just pop my little window back up. So for those of you just joining, we're talking about cleansing vibes and about releasing what no longer serves. But we're also going to be talking about how to make sprays. And I also have put together a little playlist just because we've got a few meditations and things now on here. So I've made a little, it does have an ad at the start, but yeah, you'll find that all of these are on the little sidebar. They're all coming together nicely. And the other thing too, in terms of news, is I have uploaded more onto Insight Timer. So for those of you that use the Insight Timer app, you'll also be able to access my meditations on there shortly. They're just going through the teacher vetting process. So I already have some on there, but they do actually vet the meditations. They do listen to them and make sure that everything is right. So you can be sure that you're getting high quality when someone is a teacher on Insight Timer. So I'm so happy to already be blessed to be on there. Lovely to see you too, Britt. Let me see what else I wanted to share with you guys. I might come back to that later, but I also want to remind you that I do have bookings and consultations available. You can see gorgeous Elena with her activations and the beautiful Sophie. So I still have holistic wellness sessions, starseed reading, and the mystical oracle. I'm finding, as I've said the last couple of weeks, mystical oracle reading is probably the one at the moment that more people are leaning towards. I'm finding that clients have got a lot more questions, a lot more about like where they're at in terms of soul mission, and in terms of like accessing not just like things within like 3D matrix reality stuff like relationships, job, things of that sort of nature. But we're also parallel looking into future trajectories. So say like a 5-year projection into what it is that we're transitioning out of in the old 3D and what we can do to start to make that jump over to into our new kind of soul missions and things. So that's been a lot of fun to look into for people. Hey, Emma, lovely to have you here too. So let me just open my phone to go through notes, and I have a few little props and toys and books and things to share with you guys. So I hope you're ready for an adventure. So with this, I want us to really set the tone in terms of where we're thinking about, creating little sprays and things today. I want you to think about us being vibratory. I want you to think about the aura and our energy field and how things can come in. So we've all had experiences of whether it's going out to the shops or going to a party or being in, whether it's, a work environment or relationship setting, and you can feel that transpersonal energy sort of stick to us from other people. And sometimes it might not be something that they've said, but there's just like a vibe, as my kids would say, it's just a vibe that sometimes that you can be left with as well. And oh, cool. Great question. So Yeah, with the future lifetime things, I see it more as like a multidimensional life. So it does come up in sessions where we're talking about that. But yeah, if I look at 3D as just like a straight line, past, present, future, I really see us as an oversoul with many offshoots of different lives that we can tap into. So we can also quantum jump or start to assimilate more with that future timeline energy. Um, just to answer that question, let me just check back in with what I've got next. Oh, that's right. So we were talking about in terms of frequency. So I really want you to think about that today when you're setting up the energy and space for creating essences. So for some of you, you might like to make these little essences outside. I know in the past I've definitely felt oh, awesome. Gosh, I love like having such a very clever soul tribe. We're so lucky to have all this information on access to us. Thank you, Jake. So yeah, in terms of like making essences, sometimes I'll feel drawn to making them inside because I do live in Melbourne and it can be cold. But other times I actually love to be out in the garden making these essences. So there's various different forms. I do want to set the tone, first of all, by reading a little bit from Flower Essences and Vibrational Healing by Gertrudis. So this was a book that one of my gorgeous teachers got me onto in college. It is actually channeled information. And I just thought this little section here, it does resonate with our soul tribe. So let me read this to you guys. So I've just cherry picked little parts that were standing out. So anyway, this is where they're talking about the fall. And you guys in the audience will understand, like when we talk about like the spiritual fall, the way spirit always shows it to me, it's like a separation between like dimensional reality split. So it's almost like we're being cut off more from those spiritual realms and we're more down here in the 3D and we're working our way towards connecting back to those spiritual roots and towards who we are on a bigger level. Hey, Lynn. So yeah, this is a little section. So it says, in this evolutionary plan, flowers were and are the very essence of the highest concentration of life force in the plant. They are the crowning experience of plants' growth. They are a combination of etheric properties and at the height of the life force. So they're meant to be like the highest expression of life force. And it says here, they are often used in fertility portions of the plant's growth too. So that correlates to a lot of Rudolf Steiner's work. So when you're talking about Rudolf Steiner's work or some of the other theosophy books and information out there, they talk about the roots being the thing that connects and grounds us into the earth. So if we're thinking about the kinds of plants and materials that we want to make these essences with, I think in terms of roots, leaves, bark, spices, herbs, even in some cases like dried little berries, obviously ones that are not too juicy. But yeah, there's a whole array of combination of things that you can do. But definitely when we look into doctrine of signatures, which I'll get into in a minute too, Rudolf Steiner talks about like the roots being very grounding. So if we need to sort of have more of an anchoring, holding energy, we can make cleansing sprays that have these things. And we'll talk about more what to pick for spiritual, but I just want to talk about on that level to start with. So the next thing would be, the fruit. So say in terms of feeding children, you would usually feed them fruit first if you're looking at it from a theosophy side of things, because fruit is the closest to the spiritual realms or the heavens of which the soul has come through from. So you wouldn't really feed them like grounding, flattening, anchoring foods like the root vegetables to begin with. You could perhaps like do a few water-based vegetables like zucchini, but essentially you don't want to give their digestive system too much to break down because, and this is getting a little sidetracked off topic, ADHD, but basically the gastrointestinal tract is not really formed until 18 months. So you do have to be careful with what sorts of things. But yeah, that's just looking at it from a Steiner theosophy point of view. It is really interesting because in this book, it talks about Lemuria, and we know through, whether it's through regressions like Jake does or past life like I do, we see that connection with where we talked about plants or we literally communicated to the plant. The plant would tell us like what the medicine was from. And yeah, so Jake is saying Lemurian diet is structured around a lot of fruit. definitely. And we see fruit is also very highly cleansing to the lymphatic system. Our teeth are actually very similar to a frutivore. Yeah, and our fruit is definitely changed from what it used to be. So even bananas or banana, as my best friend says, being in America, these didn't used to have that sweetness level that we have now. They used to have big seeds in them. They were more kind of like a starchy, fibrous type texture compared to what they are now, and definitely not as sweet. So we didn't see like the same glycemic spikes with the original heirloom. And luckily, there's still a few heirloom fruits and vegetables available today. But essentially, when we look into this, it says here as well, another part that I highlighted, for those of you reading at home, for the Flower Essences book. And yes, Corbin, smoothie life. And you also kind of want to chew your smoothie as you're drinking it down. I do have it available on my site as well. It's on Soul Alchemy, as well as Maison Jupiter. But yeah, so it says here, this was, of course, applied evolution from the level of the incarnate state. This was, of course, Lemuria, where the medical or the medicinal properties became activated by the very presence of the spirit being incarnated into the physical form. So completing this cycle of the doctrine of signature, and I'll just pause there for a moment. So if we look into the doctrine of signatures, it basically is foods that look like certain body parts are quite good for those. So I've got, for example, a lemon here, which we'll talk about with cleansing. But essentially, if we cut this lemon in half and we look into all of that citrus, it almost looks a little bit like the lymphatic system. And we know citrus is a great cleanser. So whether it's grapefruit, we know that that's really good for, cellulite and things like that. I also see citrus look a lot like breast tissue. So it's great for making sure that we're getting that lymph going. And remember, this isn't a whole fruit side of things. So it's not necessarily drinking, say, just orange juice by itself, which will spike the glycemic index. So I'm not recommending anything. Talk to your healthcare provider or doctor. But essentially, we get to sort of see that certain things will represent the easiest way to remember doctrine of signatures, and probably the funniest way, which helps to lock it in. And you may have heard me share this on other shows, but the kiwi fruit is the perfect example. So if we look at it as a hairy testicle, and if you were to cut that in half, you see all the little seminal vessels and you see all the little sperm gathering. So it's a holographic representation. So we live in a holographic matrix. You guys saw me talk about that more in the CIA show. So essentially, it's high in vitamin C. It's great for zinc, and that's what we need to have for sperm production. So the fruits look like, so kidney bean would be another one, great for kidneys. Blueberries, really good for eyes. Carrots, if we cut them, into little circle slices. They're high in vitamin A, which is great for eyesight, especially that beta carotene for seeing in the dark. So let me know if there's another one that you guys think of in the chat that looks like different things. Okay, that's interesting, Emma. So kiwi fruit used to be from China, Chinese gooseberry. Oh, interesting. And I know there's different types. There's like golden kiwis that I think come from New Zealand. So there's a few different ones. And let's see. Oh, Jake, you have high abundance of tomatoes right now, I think you said. So anyway, coming back to this, it says here, in part existed philosophically for many developing plant forms. But in a philosophical point of view, we cannot necessarily exist independently of human consciousness. Before humanity fell into the earth plane, it was understood on the angelic planes that this fall from spirit would take place. So many plant forms were shaped into the relationship to what was understood would become the development and shape of the people on the physical and subtle anatomical levels. This is the doctrine of signature. This is the relationship between the anatomy of the people, the shape, the color, the texture of many plants. In this relationship lie many clues as to how these plants may be used in healing and consciousness growth. So even thinking about flowers with this. So the lotus is represented as, the crown chakra or the other chakras opening and unfolding. And great one, walnuts, perfect example. We've got the skull, we've got the two hemispheres, you've got like the upper and the lower parts of the brain as well. So yeah, and we know that it's high and rich in omega, which is perfect for brain development. So great example, Jake. And let me know if anyone else thinks of anything. Amy Rose, that is a great point. So yeah, the fruits have the same geometrical pattern as certain body parts. We are geometry. Yeah, we are living in a holographic universe. So really, really cool. Let me see. Oh, I didn't know that. Cool. I'm going to have to check for red kiwi fruit. They sound magic. Okay, so the other thing that I've got here is, so this is to do with like our consciousness growth. The entire process of this development was in part consciousness or conscious speculation from the fall of spirit had not yet taken place. In early Lemuria, as if actual anatomical shape or people developed, the doctrine of signatures was then extended into the second stage. So this is the medicinal properties of the plants that could be shaped to perfectly match and harmonize with the physical forms to the people. To achieve the second, more sophisticated state, it was necessary that the souls incarnated into the physical level. So we have humans arriving here in the physical three-dimensional earth plane in Lemuria is what they're talking about here. And we know that Mu came from before Lemuria as well. But it says, with the development, it became possible to use many platforms in healing consciousness evolution. So while there was some help in this process from the various angelic forces, the second state primarily accomplished an individual souls through meditation and mental projection to the mind's energy to shape these various plants into form. So yeah, really interesting. But traditionally, this doctrine of signatures originated from Paracelsus in the 1500s. He was a prominent alchemist who credited a number of original discoveries of science and medicine. And yeah, this is a really, really interesting book, one that I've had for a really long time. You can even see here, it has various information. So you can see like sweet pea or thyme, and it talks about the vibrational qualities and spiritual essence of the plant. What I love to do though, and because I know you guys are into the woo, and so many of our soul tribe are so intuitive, you can actually meditate and pay attention to your surroundings and see if there's any plants, because it is also thought that what we need, and I'm trying to think whether it was Paracelsus or if it was, oh, I'm trying to get the name. It might come to me later. There's another plant guy that talks about planetary medicine and alchemy too. I can see the old image. It might come to me later. But essentially, these plants will actually communicate what it is. So, for example, I remember when I was younger and my hormones were like a little bit out of whack, and we were learning about herbalism as part of my college studies. I went outside to the grass, and sure enough, on the grass, growing as weeds was lady's mantle, which is for hormone balancing, women's issues, things like that. Thank you, Lorianne. I'm so happy that it is. So yeah, pay attention to what your surroundings will present to you. I have also talked about in the past having wattle communicate, which is that beautiful like yellow puffy flower. There's like a little fluffy sunshine, and it was showing me that it would bring warmth and help to work with cleansing energy out of heart chakra. So really look into like what it is that you feel drawn to in nature. And not only with the plants, have a look into like the crystal realms, because you can make essences and sprays with crystals. You can make them with shells. Essentially, you can even blast sound and frequency into that. I do love a good potion though. So the other thing too is, and this would be a really great thing. So you can even make your potion and set it on a little charging plate. So this is from my friend Michael Lee Hill with 432 Hertz. Hey, John. So you can make your essence and pop them on a charging plate. I do have this giant slab of rose quartz, which I also love to charge and put things on. What's interesting, when I've been given flowers, the flowers will tend to last for about a month, if not even sometimes I've had them last for 2 months. See these flowers in the background? Hold on a second. So these ones my partner gave me just the other day. So these beautiful ones, if I put them on the plate, although Lyra has been attacking them, so I've just popped them quickly here while she's in another room so you guys can enjoy them too. But essentially, they will keep the flowers longer, and it's all to do with vibration and to do with frequency. So really keep this in mind when you're preparing your essence, or that quantum entanglement that we're creating with your essence. So the other thing that I have to share, and I don't know if you guys have seen this one, few of you would have seen The Secret Life of Water, the Masayato, Dr. Emoto, his work. And let me just pick a little picture section out of this. So you'll see here where we talk about like structure, and the gorgeous Veda Austin from New Zealand also does a lot of work around water structure. This is a little leaflet book that my kids were given when they were little from some of the people involved with the foundation. We were lucky to get given stickers and things from them, but you can see here, I think this is the thank you or gratitude symbol. The water structure represents under a microscope when frozen. So think about the potency of the words and vibration and frequency that you're also locking into your essence. So this is something that not just can go into like an aura spray, you can also put them into household cleaning products that you're making, so many different recipes and things online. I didn't want to get bogged down by that because I wanted to present new information that sort of entangles with it. Oh, awesome. You've got the same book. Cool. Hey, Paris. Lovely to see you too. So I do have some of these beautiful essences I wanted to bring up. Were given to me by a gorgeous client of mine. So crystalline essence is what she's called, and she sent me a few. This is angel protection. And we had swan spirit. So she's very intuitive, and you can see, where is it? Over here. So there's like essential oils in here and vibrations. So essentially a big part of like what you're creating or putting into these essences, you would put predominantly water. So you could use spring water, distilled water, and then you want to have your oil component. You can even put like dried spices and things in them if you want, or crystals to have like little chip crystals inside of them that also give it a shake to kind of infuse that frequency or vibration. So if we're making homeopathic vibrations or remedies, I also am making like things in radionics machines. I love to give them like a bit of a pounding after making them to like increase that vibration and to amalgamate some of these things together. And I also have, let me just bring up, I've got another little window to show you guys. I'll just make sure I'm on the right one. So speaking of essences and things, this is one of my favorite things. So my teacher introduced me to these in college, and she had a full set. I think it must have been like 100 or more of these beautiful bottles. So these are called Orosoma. I have an old one here that probably needs replacing. This was a love bottle. And you see that there's two different, let me just bring this up closer. There's two different ones existing. This has been tainted by sun. It used to have two different color pinks. Now it's a little bit clear, but you see there's two separate things. So these were actually channeled and made by a blind lady over in the UK, I think, if my memory serves me. So let me just bring back up this little window, and you will see here. I like to sort of set it up by see if there's any that you're drawn to, because there's a whole list of things that go with it. So for me, I like to pick one to represent like on a soul level. So I'm really drawn to one that's golden pink, because that's the earliest memory form I remember existing in, is an orb made of golden pink energy, which is Lady Nada essence, which is all about purity and light and unconditional love. You can see here those gorgeous violet ones. This is, oh, actually, I think, let me check if this is Lady Nada. Oh no, this is a different one. Sometimes you'll have where they're also reversed, so it might be yellow on the bottom. This one is a darker yellow, but the one I was showing you may have been this one. Yeah, love and light. So you can see they do fade because it is utilizing natural oils, herbs. So each of them have aromatherapy in them as well. So I wanted to make sure to give you guys a variety of different essences, not just to have like a standard one size fits all. The other thing you can do too is they do sell smaller ones, and they might have it on here. I'm not too sure. This is just the Australian one. But you'll see here, it talks about like a description. So this is all about from Vicky Wall, the founder. It talks about like, where is it? Harnessing vibrational power of Mother Nature is also like what it's about. I don't think it just has the description, but anyway, love and light. You guys get the image or get the picture. There's also archangel sprays, color sprays. These are other little ones, the pomander that you can keep in your purse. So these are really great for on the go and refreshing or working with chakras. So that is another thing to think of. And you can also get full sets, which look at these. Aren't they incredible? And look at this. Imagine having this full set. 123. This must be the set that my teacher had. And they're just incredible. So I wanted to share these with you guys. And also thinking about like making your own little perfumes. This is just like a store-bought one that I love, but cute little bottle. So you can keep these on the go. But yeah, how pretty is the bottle for the Orosoma? They are gorgeous. So seeing what your soul is attracted to, you can actually go and have a read up on the Orosoma website, and it tells you about yourself. You could even pose the question, what is it that I need to bring in for this future, path or mission or journey that I'm on? What is that I need to kind of make that quantum leap, and then open your eyes, see what color you're drawn to. And it can tell you so much insight around that. The other thing with talking about the flower essences, now remember, we can combine these. As I was saying, we can put flower essence into these. You do want to have, if you're going to keep this for a while, I generally, if I use them, will try and sort of work through them so I don't need to worry about preserving them too much. But generally you need alcohol to stabilize them. So whether you're doing vodka or doing brandy as a bit of preservative, but yeah, I tend to do maybe like about a quarter and then 3/4 of water. So it just depends on what works for you. I do like more of a vodka type base just because it's clear. It doesn't really have like the same sort of, I guess, smell as brandy and things. And I can see we have another fan of flower essences. But yeah, so things I've talked about, emergency. This is the Australian one, rescue remedy. Probably. I also want to talk about lemons. So you can actually cut up a lemon or lime. So say you're maybe at a hotel and you're like, you know what, the energy just doesn't feel good in here. And it might be really easy to get your hand on a lemon, or you might be able to go down to the grocery store. You can actually cut that up. And if you want, you can even sprinkle salt on the cut open lemon, and that you just set the intention for that to draw the negativity. And so then you would discard of it, overnight. Sometimes you'll actually see them discolor and go brown if you're in like a pretty toxic environment. Otherwise, they're just, really great at purifying. Some people also like to put cloves in there as well. It really just is about like setting your intention and things. The other thing I've talked about before is dragon's blood. Sometimes you can get little oil versions that you can put together and put as part of your essence. I tend to like more frankincense. So you can even put frankincense resin in, say if you're making a spray. So say, for example, if I'm to think about now, and I wanted to make sure to do this with you guys, like just to think in the moment, instead of having like scripted ones that I've written. But, if I was to really intuitively choose now what I would have in the cupboard, and I want you to be in this mindset where we're thinking about it. So if I was going to make one, I would get my distilled water or spring water. I would get a bowl because I love making the flower essence one from scratch. So I wouldn't start out with the bottle, but I would get a crystal bowl. And you can use, if you don't have crystal, like as pure kind of glass as you can, then you would put your water in it. You would pick like whatever plant or flower you want to infuse. So then you're getting your flower essence. And then you would put a cover over it and put it out under the sun. You could put it out under the moon just to infuse it. So I love to incorporate the flower essence because it's, again, as we were talking about here, it's a different quality of spiritual vibration. So the fruit or the roots or the spices are the physical 3D, and the cleansing. But then if we're looking at cleansing on a mind, spiritual, emotional level, so we've got the two components that are going to support the body, support the emotions, and actually physically clean things out. So that's how I would create an essence. I might even put maybe some bay leaves for spiritual purification, or some sage from the garden into this. So I'm sort of giving it a spiritual cleanse at the same time, or a spiritual infusion, essence wise. And then I would also put, when I've decanted that, so you want to take some portion, that would be your mother essence in terms of flower essence. Then I would take a small portion of that and put it into a bottle. So maybe say you could put even 7 drops from that giant mother essence, because you don't need much. Remember, it's all vibrational frequency. I would then put the rest of it, water, and my small, or say like, what is it? 1/4 brandy or vodka, and then your 3/4 of your pure water, spring water or distilled. And then I would do 7 drops of this flower essence. You can put a bit more in if you want, but give it a big shake. Put in your cloves, or put in your frankincense resin, whatever it is that you guys feel drawn to. Sometimes you can even put in a pinch of Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt as well. Thanks, Lisa. And sometimes it's hard to get the words out, but I appreciate your patience, guys. So anyway, that would be how I would go about making an essence from scratch. I would also do like a little prayer, or like a little, connection, or send my intention through there, or saying and stating what it is that this is made for. And you guys have also heard where, so if following, and I would definitely, great question, Jake. So some of these can last for about 1 to 2 years. If you go onto the Bach Flower site, or if you Google like how to prepare, if you're following the guide and making sure that you're putting the alcohol in it, I do like to check them from time to time too. So for example, with these, because you're actually taking it under the tongue, you want to make sure that you're making a flower essence correctly. So I do recommend actually reading a book on it. Don't just follow, what it is that I'm saying, because I'm recalling it from memory. But yeah, when it comes to a cleansing spray, not so much of a worry. Because you're not putting it in your mouth, but you just want to make sure that you're not leaving it sit too long. We used to call them floaters in college. So we had some that were even like well past the expiry date, and they were fine. We would check for, if there was anything that looked like might be growing or any, thing inside of there. But yeah, generally they have the expiry date on there. But yeah, if you're putting alcohol to preserve, or you might use like a citrus extract, or like a rosemary extract as well, would be another natural preservative that you could also do. And I'm just seeing. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, a little pharmacy garden. That's so cute, Larianne. I love that. So yeah, there's plenty of books that you can get. This one is a good one, Guide to Magical Herbs. And I've got some other ones here in my shelf, but I just thought I'll bring just a couple out. These are ones that are more recent. So I was thinking you guys might be able to get them more. The Green Witch, which is essentially a kitchen witch. And who picked Green Witch for your 3-card pick this week? I would love to hear. And this is another book talking about the Bach flowers. So we see here, this one's Mark Wells. But yeah, there's so many different books that you can get on this subject. It is one that I would say immerse yourself into a hands-on experience of making your own one. I think it is so much fun. And I think, it's to bite the bullet and just to get your hands dirty, as they say. Also, books like this talking about vibrational medicine, you see this is well loved. But yeah, this one is really good, talking about how we were saying before, to do with like doctrine and signatures and things. So let me just check. I've got a little list. I'm going to make sure. Oh, and essential oils. So yeah, you can even, as we were saying before, put your essence once you've made it onto your charging plate. And then I just tend to let it sit there, because it's going to also hold that frequency and keep it potent. Another one that we have talked about on other shows, and this is actually the one that I'm holding up. So this one comes from Alfame, which is a beautiful magic shop here. This one is Florida water. And this I have seen do incredible things. So you can even buy a bigger bottle of Florida water and decant it into your little sprays. That is one that I do recommend, probably as one of the highest things for protection. And oh, great question. So Blue Lotus, oops, where is it? Yeah, it's a beautiful one, isn't it? So Blue Lotus, I would be using that more, and you can get it in flower essence form. I have bought Blue Lotus before in flower essence form. So I would be popping that in to a spray around crown chakra. So that's the other thing too. And it could be a whole nother show, but think about like if you do want to do more of an activation. So say, for example, you might put rose, which remember we talked about the flowers with this doctrine of signatures being more connected with the spiritual realm. So like rose, neroli, honeysuckle are really great ones, and blue lotus to connect you into these upper realms and into the spiritual dimension. So you can make an essence or a spray with those. But yeah, if you want one for grounding, think grounding oils and herbs and things. So this Florida water though, highly recommend. Everyone should have Florida water in the cupboard, because you can bathe in it too. So you can put a few drops in your bath with your salt, with your magnesium. It's really great for cleansing the aura. So I do like to include that. But other things, let me just see what we've got. So I do love a bit of On Guard. This is really great. Which way am I? Protective blend. So let me just read to you what this has. And I know there's like oil garden and what's the other one? There's quite a few different oil blends that are similar, but this has wild orange, clove bud, cinnamon leaf, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus, and rosemary. So a lot of these things are spiritually protective, as well as like I never travel without this. So not that we normally would advise, taking them internally, but I find that this is something that I'll do. Have a look on their website. I'm not giving advice around any of that, but it does protect, like in terms of immune system, and yeah, it's been one that I've been around people with flus and all sorts of things, and I just never get sick. So that is a good one to look into. And a little Aussie favorite, tea tree. So we have this around a lot of our beach areas here in Victoria, and it smells incredible. The Australian tea tree. I think New Zealand, also has tea tree as well. Another one that's really great in terms of like, say if you need an essence to like refresh or like just sort of make the energy feel a little bit, uplifted. Things like including peppermint oil can be really good as well. And I can see Lisa saying, oh, thank you. Thanks, Paris. And I can see Lisa saying, I do rose daily, all day, and lavender at night or when stressed. Oh, that's awesome. And you can even use like rose as a little roller or frankincense around like under eye areas and things. They're really great for skin and nourishing on a deeper level. And I can see Jake saying peppermint is one of his favorites too. And oh, I love that little tip. So in Morocco, you rub fresh rose water upon entering home as an invited guest. They keep a bottle of rose water by the front entrance. I didn't know that, but I love that. And I do have some Moroccan rose water too. Sometimes I'll add a little bit into if I'm cooking. And I'll sometimes put cinnamon. So you can infuse and make your food into potions, and people will taste the difference. You will get a different emotional effect. So think about that in terms of when you're making your alchemy, that you can do that too. Let me just see. Oh, John, that's so sweet. So Rita, after you told me about the On Guard, that was my mom's favorite. Mine is okay, but both caps and drops. Yeah, you can get the capsules as well. And with the Florida water recipes, there are a few online that you can find. I've just found that it's been easier because I love going to this little magic shop and supporting them there, that I will buy it direct from them. You can order them online. And let me see. Oh, Jake is saying, oh, you've got rose Epsom salts too. Yeah, really lovely. And orange blossom. This is a really beautiful one for sacral chakra and like unfolding that womb space energy, as is rose, like nourishing, nurturing. And yeah, so that is a great one to get rid of roaches. And you can do cayenne pepper, or you can do, I think it's clove as well they don't like. There's a few different things that you can use. And sometimes, like we have chooks here, and sometimes you can plant certain herbs and things around the chooks and it will keep away mites. So yeah, nature and plants are incredible. I did have a little quote, I forgot to put it up here, but it was essentially, it's the original medicine, is what it really is. And I'm so glad that you're feeling inspired as well. So let me see what else I've got here. So rosemary is another one that I put in my little box to share with you guys today. So rosemary, clove, as we said before, and oh, the other brand was Young Living. So they also make really good oils. And then I've got, oh, this one was just Springfield's, and that was a frankincense. I do actually like frankincense better in the resin state. The other thing that you could do, say if you're just making an essence and you just want, say, one that you'll use quite quickly, or you don't really have much on hand, you could actually just brew the cleansing vibes potion and spritz a little bit of that around if you've got a water spray bottle. So that would be another way to do it. I do also put, like on this rose quartz charging plate or the crystal, I do also put it on there. Let me see. And this is a great one. So Emma is also reminding us to know you do have to be careful though on whether you have essential oils versus essence, definitely. So especially in ingesting directly or through food. And that's why I'm saying I'm not recommending that. Go somewhere else for advice around this. And we do things different in different cultures as well. So things that would be considered on a market level to not be safe, different practices from the beginning of time, like in Aboriginal culture, there's few things that I've learned that they do that we in the modern Western world might be in shock of. So definitely, I'm not recommending things. Thank you, Lisa. So yeah, Florida water, 3 cups of roses, 3 cups of jasmine flowers, 3 cups of aromatic greens like mint, lemon balm, lemon verbena, basil, Mexican mint, marigold, thyme, and 3 cinnamon sticks. So there is a few processes that you guys can follow, but this is the recipe. So thank you, Lisa. I've been busy on time, so thank you. And let me just check in with what else I've written. So salt, definitely you want a good quality salt. You can use black salt because it is one of the highest cleansing salts, but it will make your potion stink like sulfur. So not recommended. It is a stinky potion. I have tried making that. Let me see. Oh, also you can infuse a bit of color therapy too. So you might want to put like perhaps a little bit of, beetroot powder or pigment from some natural form or some natural food color if you did want to color in your essence. But essentially, I don't always feel that's a good idea, except for the Orosoma. And that's why I brought them up to show you, because they're a bit more safe and stable when it comes to the color. Whereas if you're putting food dye or, extracts and things like that, it can actually stain. Like if you're spraying it around the couch and things, you don't want to have that as part of it. But yeah, in terms of ingesting, stick with flower essences if you're not sure, like 100% sure. And with the colors and things too, really, it's what your soul is drawn to. Thanks, Lisa. So yeah, I do have with aura sprays and things like that. Oh, incorporating, my other note that I just missed was incorporating like your saying or your affirmation and things. So say, for example, this might be, a potion I'm working on or a spray that I'm going to later decant into a bottle. So say I've made my flower essence, I've put like my resin and everything in, and then I would say, I cleanse and renew my energy field with this spray. So I would also see or visualize myself being protected or my home being surrounded in protection if it's one that I'm going to spray. So just using that little cup as an example. If you were to make one, so say, for example, if you want a recipe to follow, I did actually write just a little one down, but I really want you guys to think and create from like your own organic experience, because this is really about like tailoring and making it. So you could do like a cup of distilled water, 2 tablespoons of salt, and then you could put your oils in. So whether you're doing, I've got a combination I've written down with lavender and lemon, and you just want a couple of drops of each. So you also want to think about too your notes when it comes to essential oils. I don't want to get too into the side of it today, but generally like your more grounding or like stronger woody based ones, I would do like 1 or 2 drops. So say for example, I might do like 1 or 2 drops of clove, but then I might do 5 drops of lemon. So all of those are cleansing, but the lemon's going to be balanced out more. So you want to have a play around with it. And one of my gorgeous teachers that was teaching about perfumes and things when I was in college and how to make, some of these different concoctions, she actually couldn't smell. So she would intuitively and also work with muscle testing to pick up what it was that she needed to work with. So I generally go lighter on the woodier based earthy tones. Then like on the resins and things like frankincense, I might do a little bit more. And then definitely like on the sweeter side of things, I would go higher. On a herbaceous side of things like sage and things, I also tend to go lesser. It's all about your personal preference. I tend to do more drops of flour as well. It really just is about like what works for you, but you do want to pound it up. And I just want to see, does anyone have any questions? I know it's sort of been a little bit all over the place, but I just want you guys to think about how you can create this for yourself as well. Yes, definitely salt. So, and there's different types of salt. There's also, I'm trying to think what it's called. Certain salts are also toxic to animals. So just be mindful and be aware of certain salts that you just want to, be careful. Some people will put even like magnesium sprays and things like that into them as well. You can buy them pre-prepared. So you can buy chakra sprays, you can buy cleansing sprays, you can buy sprays for, love and all sorts of things. But I really want to give us the practical knowledge and know-how to make and to experiment, because I think that we should all have a little bit of a kitchen witch alchemy lab going when we're into this sort of stuff. And let me just bring up, for those of you who wanted to see this again, for what I was talking about, definitely go and check out, let me just pop this down. Definitely go and check out, I'm just deleting one of my windows, the Orosoma essences. So let me see if there was anything else that I just wanted to see if there's a necklace on here to show you guys. I don't think they have it on here. Let me just check, because if you want to carry it with you all the time, it's a really beautiful way to carry this essence around. It doesn't seem like they have them on the Australian side, but you might be able to find it somewhere else. And I just want to remind you guys that I have the new playlist that I've been putting together. So you will also find, I've just grouped together the different topics of the different shows that I've been on and done. So there's the psychic training ones. We've got the galactic shows on here as well. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Let me know if there is any questions before we finish up. But essentially, you can buy the potions on Soul Alchemy Potions, and my bookings are on masonjupiter.com. Remembering, I still have soulreader.com for those wanting to read a little bit more or find the meditations and things as well. And maybe we should do a show on essential oils. I think that could be a fun topic. And also, if you guys want to put down any show idea recommendations, I do have quite a few still in my little diary that I'm planning. Oh, you just reminded me. I had a list on here. Thank you, Jake. So thoughts on moon water. And I did just see Emma's question. I'm going to highlight that. So I do like to, if I have time or if it's sort of synchronized, I might utilize, like today, it's a witchy day. It's Friday the 13th, so a little bit auspicious. So today, I think is the perfect day that we're talking about. I just got goosebumps, making potions and things. So happy Friday the 13th. You guys, I know it'll be tomorrow in the States and in Canada. But essentially, a full moon or a new moon. Sometimes it'll also be where you might want to be making a spray to like let go of things or to bring things in terms of manifestation. So just applying the moon cycle leading up to the full moon or on the full moon is best for manifesting. And usually after the full moon is best for things that we're detoxing or getting away. Pine needles, yes, that is a great one. I can see you guys recommending pine, and pine is also connected to Pleiades. And let me just see if there's any other things that I've missed off my little list. So yeah, you could essentially Google how to make cleansing spray, and there'll be recipes. The Florida water one, though, is a really good one. The only thing is, if you're making the recipe from scratch, which is also part of the reason I didn't pop it together, I find that, like, preservative-wise, it might go a bit funky and you could get mold in it. So that's where you really need to make sure that you're using a preservative like citrus extract or the alcohol. And let me just see Emma's question. Can you please put up your book recommendations? So it's sometimes a little bit hard to see the chat after, but this one, flower essences and vibrational healing. So you might want to take a screenshot of that. And let me place this side by side with the Bark Flower Today by Mark Wells. So these are really, really good ones. And we did talk about the Dr. Emoto book, but I will hold up these two little kitchen witch books. They are still recent. I do have a few other magic books and things like that that are fun, even some from when I was younger, which is cute to still have. But yeah, you'll get more inspiration and ideas for making your potion out of that. But essentially, you can look in the shops. Oh, and I did have this little page opened when I grabbed this book off the shelf. And I just stuck an oracle card in it for some reason. The oracle card that came up was returning home. Transition, life between lives, and lovingly welcome. So we see here these beautiful pillars or archway. That was just a card that came up when I was working with this topic. So you could even make perhaps like a potion or set your intention with one of the sprays. If you're having homesickness, neroli, jasmine, and rose are really good for homesickness as well, because it brings in part of that remembrance of creator essence. So that is a good little tip. And we also, the page that it opened up to was botanical beauties and herbal spells and charms to make you glow. So this could be another topic, but you can even make like a little rose water spritz. And a lot of the rose water can be found in, I find them more in not just Oriental type stores, like Middle Eastern stores that we have over here, and like places where you might get like a lot of your fresh spices and different things. Thanks, Emma. Yeah, it's a beautiful card. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. And yeah, let me know if you have any more show ideas, if you would love me to guide and nurture you through a session. A mystical oracle session has been the most popular at the moment. So yeah, you'll find me at masonjupiter.com as well. Bye, everyone.